Welcome, listeners, to our podcast, We Are Listening, the space where we bridge the gap between wellness seekers and providers. I'm Pulkit Garg, your guide in this journey of self discovery and healing. And today we have a transformation specialist, entrepreneur, and light worker, Ronak Vora, with us to explore the profound importance of healing our past wounds and traumas. And before we jump into the depths of this transformative topic, let's get to know our guest a bit more. Ronak, why don't you share a bit about yourself?
Hi Pulkit, namaste everyone. Thank you for introduction. It's good to be here. So I'll give you a short story about why I entered into this transformation journey despite having a good job and a safety and security net. There have been a lot of changes in my personal life that I have gone through, a lot of breakups, turmoils, financial challenges, mental challenges, emotional breakdowns, which kept me in darkness for a long, long time. And that literally broke my confidence. My self worth went down. I started going towards a negative spiral, and I started, acting like a victim for a long time. Then something happened. This was back in 2013, 14, when I was in my college, and something happened that day, and I don't know, it was like God spoke to me. And from there onwards, I started working out intensely. I was on a project called as self-development, and I was working on my top three areas: my mental, my physical, and my emotional. And ever since then, things just took place. God just provided me the path, and I was just supposed to walk on it. And sooner or later, I found that, okay, now I have built a company. I've helped these many clients. I've grown financially very well, and I feel okay. Yeah, this is something right. So this is my story about. I will say in one word is from pain to purpose.
That's a very beautiful way of summarizing the whole journey from pain to purpose. Ronak, your journey is truly inspiring. And, thanks for sharing your mission to empower 1 crore people to heal their inner self and awaken their true powers without emotional resistance. Emotions, are really something that stay with us, whether it be an emotion that we feel in our childhood when we are just born, or an emotion that we feel during the teens, the emotion of love, anger, disgust, or whatever that emotion is, it leaves a scar or it leaves a beautiful mark on our, the being and the soul that we have. And, Ronak, a lot of studies have shown that unresolved trauma can have profound impacts on our mental health and physical health in our later stages of life. So why it is really, crucial to work on this unresolved trauma, either it be for individuals, corporates, or leaders, and for their growth.
So I feel it's very important more than ever. It's today. It's so important because number one, there is so much happening around us. Whether we might not be able to see it through our eyes, but we are energetic beings, and it's like we are always downloading हर जगह से. आप ट्रेन में हो, ऑफिस में हो, ऑफिस शॉप में हो, restaurant mein ho, if you're in a club, you are downloading a lot of energies from people, and not everybody around us is empowered or positive or very good hearted, right? People have a lot of negative, or I would say low vibrations that they carry with themselves, or wo vibrations hamari body mein gets stored, and then mentally it gets stored in our subconscious mind from the talks we listen to, from the kind of information or content we consume from everywhere, audio, video, whatever it is. And what happens really is, जब कोई इंसान एक कोई चीज से गुजर रहा है, he's going to a down phase, and he listens to something or spends time with people who are unhealed or who are vibrating at that low frequency, तो टेंडेंसी इसकी वो पकड़ लेगा और वो उसका ट्रॉमा जो है वो और गहरा जाएगा. That will result in his sickness, physical sickness, right? Because all these emotions, all these traumas are stored on our energy field in terms of blocks. And those blocks often result in physical pain. So I'll give you an example. 25, 28, 30-year-old man who has 4 people to take care of, and he's the only bread earner. Why does he have so much of shoulder pain, neck pain, and back pain? Can you tell me? Have you seen those people? They complain about back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain.
Yes.
Can you take a guess why does that happen? Usually with men. And I'll tell you why men.
Okay. Majorly because of their body posture or the way they have been, sitting. So majorly in corporates, it is because of the body posture or long hours of sitting.
Correct. That's one physical dimension. Now talking about emotional and spiritual, energetical dimension is when we have lot of burden, unburden, जब होता है हमने बहुत लोगों का भार हमारे ऊपर ले लिया होता है, responsibilities, stress, the burden is on our shoulders. That is why these people start developing neck and shoulder pain.
Okay. I've heard that when you're feeling a lot of emotions that are negative emotions and you're feeling lower backache is your backache area is where that whole emotion gets stored and it starts to ache. Is that something what we're trying to convey?
Right. So the point is that every emotions have their own place, physical place of storage. So basically, जो back होता है वो mostly होता है suppressed fear because that's a basic chakra, you know. So basic chakra is all about money, wealth, action, and health. So let's say if you're too much clingy with money और आपको अगर lackness है, आपको अगर पैसे के बारे में कुछ negative beliefs है, तो आपको आपका जो back pain होते रहेगा.
Okay.
अगर आप indecisive हो बहुत, अगर आपको डिसीजन लेने में नहीं आता, यू आर वेरी मच इनडिसाइसिव, तो आपको दर्द होगा आपके दांतों में. इफ यू हैव लॉट ऑफ टेंशन एंड वरी रिगार्डिंग योर फैमिली रिस्पांसिबिलिटीज, बर्डन, कुड बी एनी बर्डन, राइट? फैमिली बर्डन हो गया या फिर बर्डन विद योर कॉर्पोरेट ऑफिस, it will majorly result in shoulder, because I've seen so many people, my clients, you know, who have shoulder pain, back pain. I ask them why, and they tell me, Ronak, ये हुआ. मैं बोला तो क्या हुआ इससे? तो then they tell कि यार मुझे बच्चा है, इतने घर वाले हैं, I have to take care of them, I'm still not able to reach my financial goals. I've earned a good money, but I've still not earned it enough. So I take a lot of pressure on myself, and that is why the posture gets deformed. So my whole work is now linking the physical, the emotional, the spiritual, and the emotional. That's my whole work about.
That's really amazing, Ronak, and I believe the number 2,000 people whom you have consulted and enabled so far in your journey, this is the secret sauce behind it, the in wisdom you know have yourself. And again, it's not just wisdom that you have just read and learned, you have experienced it yourself. So yeah. I believe that really helps you in enabling people. Ronak, I would really like to touch upon one interesting aspect that your previous sharing brought out. I have seen जब भी हम अगर sharing कर रहे होते हैं ना, as you mentioned कि अगर आप किसी lower frequency पे vibrate करने वाले इंसान के साथ आप जाके बात कर रहे हो, बैठ रहे हो, I have seen as part of our overall society, हमने एक रेस में होते हैं कि यार मेरा दर्द सबसे बड़ा है, my pain is bigger than you.
Yeah.
Why is that racism? कि हम इस चीज को क्यों जीतना चाहते हैं कि भैया मेरा दर्द, मेरा दुख तुमसे ज्यादा बड़ा है? वो एक अंदर से ह्यूमन बींग्स में ये चीज क्यों है कि we are bigger in this thing? मतलब this is not something we should be really proud of. What are your thoughts on this?
Good question. So I think from my understanding, it really happens because number one of the ego. Number two is we want to give ourselves importance because हमारे लिए हम सब कुछ होते हैं. मेरा पैसा, मेरा दर्द, मेरा happiness, मेरा job, मेरे parents, मेरा ये, मेरा वो. So all we have been taught since childhood. Again, this is a conditioning, right? Because if let's say you and me and thousands of people would have different beliefs, तो आज हमारा question कुछ और होता. So that's the basic conditioning that we have been grown up with. So let me give you an example. So when kids fall down, when they cycle or when they do anything, or जब कुछ होता है उनके साथ, तो माँ बाप क्या बोलते हैं कि अरे जमीन को मारो, जमीन गंदा है, ये अच्छा नहीं है. They kind of blame and they kind of change the whole scenario there. Must have noticed that parents. So I believe that conditioning has been set कि हमको हमारा दर्द बहुत ऊंचा लगता है और दूसरे का दर्द ऊंचा नहीं लगता, क्योंकि हमें अपने बारे में एक ईगो है कि that ego tells us you are going through danger, you are going through pain. Now that happens because of how our brain works. Now, I'm not an expert in brain, but if you understand brain, the whole point of our brain, our subconscious, our reptilian brain is to protect us, provide us, and to keep us safe. So that really keeps us in a space where we want to protect ourselves from all that's causing around us, whether it is a financial loss or whether it's a heartbreak or whether it's a divorce, anything. So हमें हमारा दर्द बहुत ऊंचा लगने लगता है. और होता ये है कि because our heart chakra is not opened. The problem is because of the ego, the solar plexus chakra. Now I'm getting into chakras because that's how I want to do it, because I don't want to give half information to people. So chakras really get flared up, right? So when you are too much into me, your solar plexus chakra gets opened up. और अगर वो बड़ा हो गया आपका solar plexus, तो आपका heart chakra जो है, जो main function है आपकी emotions का, heart का, वो छोटा हो जाएगा. वो छोटा हो गया तो आप में empathy बिल्कुल नहीं है, right? अगर आप में empathy नहीं है तो फिर आपको अपना दर्द ही बहुत ऊंचा लगेगा और दूसरे को आप दर्द समझ नहीं पाओगे. Does it make sense?
No, totally, really does make sense. And I'd like to share two personal incidents over here. So what you mentioned about कि अगर छोटे बच्चे को चोट लगती है and the way his or her parents are responding to that situation, बच्चे का response भी change हो जाता है. So I have a niece, and what I did when she was around 3 or 4 years old, उसको जब चोट लगती है मैंने खुद से ऐसे एक्सपेरिमेंट किया, because I have been working in this field for now good 8-9 years. So जब उसको एक बार चोट लगी तो I sort of वही normal same response आता है, चोट लग गई, जमीन को मारो, इसको मारो, and उसमें उसका रोना ज्यादा बढ़ गया वहां पे. इंस्टेड ऑफ रियली गेटिंग टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट्स हैपनिंग, शी स्टार्टेड क्राइंग मोर. On the other instance, what I did was I was like, कहीं चोट लगी है, कुछ भी नहीं हुआ. And somewhere or the other, when I was trying to empower her with understanding what has actually happened and changing the narrative of the whole situation, she just stopped crying in just 1 or 2 seconds or something of that sort and started playing again. So that sort of a thing I have really observed firsthand by experimenting on this thing, and it really matters the way we are narrating incidents and the way we are conditioning our children. It stays with them for their life, and it really either empowers them or becomes roadblocks for them in their overall growth.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true.
Ronak, so we have been touching upon individuals majorly abhi tak. Why don't we try to understand the whole context of our conversation from a corporate's perspective, from an organization's perspective?
Okay, like what exactly?
So when we have been talking about emotions, so an organization would also have its own emotion. The overall, and when I'm saying an organization having its own emotion, the people within the organization having emotion. How should those emotions be managed? Because if the people in the organization are working, then only the organization grows. Vice versa might not be true. So how do we manage those emotions within an organization?
So I would like to understand more in this so I can give you a good context. So what kind of emotions are we talking about? Can you give me an example or a situation?
Okay, so let's try to understand the usual thing that we get from a lot of people. अपने जो surroundings में हम लोग अपने दोस्तों से मिलते हैं, या स्ट्रेस बहुत है, आज काम करने का ना मन नहीं है, बॉस से लड़ाई हो गई मेरी. Now, as an individual, every one of them is going through their own highs and lows in their respective lives. But when we get into an organization, we expect and we assume that दूसरे बंदे की लाइफ में सब कुछ एकदम sorted चल रहा है. So what are the factors how we can bridge this gap and build onto it?
So I have worked in corporate for some time, but फिर थोड़ा छोड़ दिया मैंने for certain reasons because I wanted to build my own thing. But from what I've observed and listened to all these stories, I feel that when you're into corporate, they tell you and they train you to just be so logical and analytical, where emotions can't be involved. So when that happens, I mean, it's like telling a car to drive without driver. How will that happen? So if the companies and their respected HRs, executives, and the culture is self-aware, is very much considering that we are working with humans and not AI, तो शायद ये चीजें जो आप बोल रहे हो शायद कम हो जाए. That will also happen if each of the person would really heal himself at a level where he is open, honest, clear, decisive, and really transparent with his communication, with his conduct. Things like this कि यार स्ट्रेस में हूँ, बॉस को I can communicate rather than telling अरे मेरा बॉस अच्छा नहीं है, बुरा है, वो बहुत काम देता है. So rather than abusing the boss because of a situation, he would rather talk to his boss and make him understand that I'm going through the situation. Does it make sense?
It totally does make sense, Ronak. And if I have to just put it in a very different manner, and please correct me if I'm wrong in saying this, if we learn to communicate better with an essence of benefit of doubt for the other person, would these issues really subside and be a story of the past?
So my understanding now with regards to dealing with people, communicating, and where of course, communication depends on the kind of stakes are involved. If I'm handling a company which has like 10,000 crore of assets and a company that has, let's say, 1,000 crore of assets, so my communication and my understanding to people's minds, hearts would be very different. But I feel the bigger your company grows, the more you are passionate about growing your company, be more of a heart-centric than just logic-centric. You can't just be in your head and do certain things. There's a human side to you, which is your heart. And again, if your heart chakra is not open, you might become a corporate CEO who's known for toxic culture, which means बहुत काम कराता है पर उतनी पगार नहीं देता या कुछ fun नहीं है. Because again, you're energy being. So what energy are you vibrating? If you as a CEO, people look up to you, if you walk in your cabin and if your energy is too dense, if it's too scattered, if it's too heavy, people would feel that, right? So if people feel that, then obviously they would not want to do certain things with you. They would not want to open up themselves because your energy doesn't give them that space to open up. So if I'm running a company, but not that high, but if I am going to run a company that's 1,000 crore, I would really maintain a culture which is a lot of fun, where people are working on themselves. There would be some 5 non-negotiables, which means meditation, workout, healing, prayer, forgiveness, gratitude, all of these practices, because that is what will keep each of my team member and myself grounded. And when we are grounded, we are able to connect with our higher source, and तभी आप सही decision ले पाओगे. Because now times are very different. You can't just rely on data. I feel that, I could be wrong here, but I feel that you can't just take everything so calculative, data oriented. You have to also harness and enhance your gut, your intuition, because we all have three brains. Brain, heart and gut are three brains. So अगर वो तीनों aligned होंगे, तभी हम एक visionary कहलाएंगे, who can actually make big impact and difference.
No, I totally agree with you, Ronak, on this. And I have seen various instances, and in certain of my favorite web series as well, I've seen this thing being really implemented in real time. So it was very beautifully shown that emotions are never considered when you're talking about data. So data often misses this very important aspect of human emotions.
Yeah.
And in an organization, it might just happen that data might show that one particular person is not performing as per the given standards of benchmarking.
Right.
But it is because of that individual, your rest of the team is able to perform at par, and data really does not reflect it out. So thanks a lot, Ronak, for shedding light on the profound importance of healing our past wounds and traumas. And listeners, we have something more interesting coming up for you in our next episode. Ronak very lightly touched upon the source, and Ronak has something called the source code. So we'll be talking about and understanding about the source code as well in the next episode, and navigating the enigma of energies and chakras as well in our next episode. Thanks a lot, everyone. And we would be putting down our Instagram handles for Ronak as well as we are listening below in the description, so you can reach out to us. And if you have any questions or your responses to our discussion, please feel free to comment and share it with us. More than happy to reply to that or answer those questions for you. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Ronak.
Thank you, Pulkit. Thank you, everyone.